Hello, this is Steve, Dichroic Glassman. A lot of people have contacted me over the years, asking me where do I get the ideas for my panels, and will I sell my patterns? Well, yes and no. Better yet, I want to show you how I go about making my patterns. You know, like everybody else, or maybe not even saying that, but like a lot of people, I started out in books too. I had to get everything glass I could get my hands on. I looked in Sears catalogs for glass applications. I looked all over the place. Anything glass. I wanted to know about it. I just used to collect pictures of glass. In books. Sometimes making the same pattern. Often changing the pattern. Or taking, with a projector, an overhead projector, perhaps the bird out of one pattern and accommodating it in something else. Well, after several years of my own discovery through books, looking at the pictures, creating everything I could glass, from unicorns to some vague attempt at sacred geometry or even just plain geometry, things evolved. And through that evolution, I realized there was some common denominators everywhere. Everywhere in life, that is. Circles and squares and triangles. Rectangles and lines. If you want a good source of inspiration, go outside and look at your dashboard sometime. You wouldn't believe all the crazy cool ideas that are sitting there on your dashboard. Or go jump in somebody else's car and check out that dashboard. Circles and squares and triangles, lines and rectangles. You might be inspired. Anyway, let's get back to what we're here for. I'm utilizing this video to talk about the Genesis glass system. How are you making your patterns? Where do you start? When you find a pattern that you like, whether it be a circle or square, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to get that design out of here or out of your head onto paper? And in such a way that you're going to get incredible accuracy as an end product. Well, you're going to clamp it down, tape it down, hold it down. What are you going to do? How are you going to do this? What's going to hold these things in place? How many patterns is it going to take to hold these things in place? Or how many patterns is it going to take to get to these pieces? I've heard 3 patterns. You never know. Maybe somebody's floating around with a 4 or 5. But I've been told a lot of people are very frustrated with the current situation in stained glass. I agree. I realized that from a few years in, there was something I could do to create my own process. Well, I did create my own process because I've never had a lesson. And no, these books didn't cover stained glass applications. They're just pattern books. They're not going to give you ideas on how to cut a piece of glass or foil it. These are bevel designs. Now, I created my own process right away of how to move forward by cutting and foiling my glass, yes. But I did not develop this system of how I saw circles and squares and such in relationships to each other until years later. Now I can show you with a breadcrumb mentality how to get back to drawing stuff like this. Again, to reinforce this idea, people calling me saying they're tired of pattern books. How do I get out of here and how do I do what I know how to do? Get me there. As far as I know, there's no system available today with an accumulation of pattern books that's going to give you a philosophy or an approach or a mindset or a how-to on how to do this process to create your own experience in stained glass. Well, with some simple tools that you can buy at Lowe's or Home Depot, under $50, you could literally start creating patterns for the rest of your life. What should I say, hundreds? Or should I go so far as to say thousands? The Genesis system is not a system to show you how to draw. I can't even draw. But I know what to do with that bird. I have a system that I've created with some simple tools where you can grow something like this. I did this circle, by the way, with its little applications, using my little dichroic jewel. And I inserted them in strategic locations, namely 4. Very simple pattern. Did it in about 15 minutes. Architecturally, draftsmanly perfect. Oh yeah. 20 minutes. You see what I'm saying? With some simple tools, you can now create your experience of a backdrop or a frame. I like to call it a frame more than I do a backdrop, because that's the backdrop. But let's just say now that you're getting ever so close to having your own stained glass draftsmanship design experience here. Let's say you still can't draw. Well, we got a book over here, and if you have books, these are all the books I own, by the way, just for videos anymore. I don't use anything in any books whatsoever. I do all my own patterns, have been for years, based on the fact I don't need to recreate somebody else's experience. Beautiful things out there, and trust me, I've done hundreds of them. I needed it for my formulation, apparently. But let's just say that anybody with a pet rock mentality, even a caveman can do it. Anybody that is mechanically minded could create their own field now, right in here. Where now maybe you've got an idea that does make sense to go into here. Maybe you're going to go and have this blown up, transfer it over in carbon paper. Whatever method that you choose, I'm not going to interfere with that yet, not on this level, but I guarantee you won't be making patterns the same way again if you adapt to the Genesis glass system. You're going to be able to utilize patterns now out of books, if that's the way you choose, to integrate them with your applications, your contribution now to things. You may not like this design, it doesn't matter, because it was only drawn for the simple fact of giving you some basic relevance of how you can utilize it. You blow this up in any means that you see, a projector, or go blow it up at Kinko's and just enlarge and make it so it fits. But you get the idea now. It's not a system to draw, but it's a system that really appreciates your drawing ability. Perhaps your nephew, maybe your wife, maybe somebody else, a friend, can draw. But as long as you create these fields, these applications, you can do them over and over, many, so that you can have that special bonding time with somebody who can draw. Perhaps this one is going to have a hummingbird application, perhaps the next an iris, perhaps a horse, or even your last name across there. You don't have to use 3 of these. You can use, or 4 of them. You could use 3. You could do top and bottom and get more whimsical on the side. You can abstract it. Something different on this side and a half moon on this side. It don't matter. But now you're having your own experience integrating this aptitude that we all have once you see how it is done. I can almost assure you you've done something similar to this before. Maybe not on a controlled level. That's the interesting thing. Breadcrumb mentality, I can get you back there 100% of the time to recreate this. Incredibly accurate. So what is that going to get you in the long run? Confidence. If that makes you want to go out in the garage and create now, then I guess we've achieved what you said after many years ago when you bought it, or even had the idea. But now, this changes things. If you could get this part done, this frame, easy, in 20 minutes, and you can now take somebody else's experience and integrate them saying, well, you know, I look forward to the day when I'll be able to draw. Well, I said the same thing myself. But as long as I could do this on the outside over and over in many different imaginative ways, it really made a difference in how I see patterns, simple patterns, Hey, thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.